You don't remember nothing. What Masech do you on?
Colon.
Colon?
Colon.
Colon. Okay, so like you're learning Basar B'chalav, so you say, okay, we know Basar B'chalav. Then you start trying to remember how you're not supposed to mix milk and meat together. You're not even supposed to cook them together, and you're not even supposed to have them near each other, and you have to wait 6 hours. And then all of a sudden, boom, you shoot off, right? So what's in the kid's head? The halachas of Basar B'chalav. And this kid's got a running start into this world with a little bit of Torah already in him.
I remember I was pluking this girl, and right at the climax, I yelled out Shema Yisrael. She called 911 because she thought I was dying.
That's the stupidest story I've ever heard. But do you see what I'm saying? It's starting to make a little sense. Let's just put it this way. You have two kids in the cheder, right?
Right.
They're both 5 years old, and they're both sitting next to each other on a bench, right?
Right.
The little pays,
Right.
Little, and they're sitting there, and one's like saying, what, like little Yankee, what do you know? And he's like, Zut in the Gemara. He's like, oh, it's like, Ela Mitzius, Hari Ela Shaloi, right? And the other one go, what do you have to say about that? Woo! Which one do you think was created by who? All right.
Boy, my sons are going to be so lucky because I know how escorting works and how porn works.
How is that going to help them in yeshiva education?
Oh, scratch that. I've put all that.
Let me ask you something.
I've put all that aside. Yeah, go ahead.
How are you going to raise kids? How's that going to work?
I'm going to be pretty laid back because I'm 45. So when people get older, they tend to raise kids as pets. They're not as
Pets.
they're not like over the top of them. Tell you what, I'm not going to be going to their games or their stupid plays or their singing recitals. Like, if you just give them basic discipline, some basic ground rules and some basic love, and put them in a good environment, you can go on with your life. Like, if you just provide those basics, then it's basically up to the kid, what they're going to do with their life. So if you, as opposed to hovering over them and getting them special tutors and living your whole life to look after them, that's not going to help your kid, and it's just going to make you miserable. So I'm going to be pretty hands off. I'm going to raise them in a good Jewish environment. I'm going to send them to an Orthodox day school. We're all going to go to an Orthodox shul. We're going to have an Orthodox home. But I'm not going to be going to their games and their plays and their recitals. And I'm going to be living my life. I'm going to be blogging and teaching Alexander technique. And I'm going to be living a full life.
Are your sons going to see you learn Torah?
Yeah.
So when they come home, they're going to see that what they're learning in yeshiva is matching what their parents are doing at home.
I hope so. I mean, I can be a little bit lazy, but
it's really important. Let me tell you something from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Kids have a big bullshit meter.
Yeah.
They have the bullshit detector on way high.
Yeah.
If they go to yeshiva or they go to school
Yeah.
and they hear a certain standard,
Yeah.
and they go home and see that their parents aren't holding by that standard,
Yeah.
kids' bullshit detector goes way up.
So
Because
maybe they'll need to go to a reform day school.
they got to be taught by Prager. That's the only way that the two things will.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there it is. Okay, there's your answer. Send them to Dennis.
And I'll
Prager.
bring the kids over and it's like, okay, kids, tonight we got Torah talk. Put the kids to work. Okay.
Well, it's already 9 o'clock. This is like our longest one ever.
Okay. Beware of arrogance. Life is a spiral staircase. We keep passing through 4 stages: dependency, feeling small in a big world, mastery, and grandiosity. So we're always developing in life, but we also keep going back through these 4 stages. So life is like a spiral staircase. At no point are we ever out of one of these 4 stages, says the psychiatrist Dr. Stephen Malmer. So think about that. You're climbing a spiral staircase in a tower, and at each vista there's a window. And you get to see the fields and you get to see the world from a different angle. But there are 4 basic developmental challenges: dependency, when you're a kid, when you're sick, when you're poor; mastery, grandiosity, when you think you're great, and feeling small in a big world when you're feeling lonely.
What does
And
this have to do with anything?
You will face these challenges over and over again. So we will all experience these windows one way when we're in childhood, another way in adolescence, another way in adulthood, another way in the geriatric phase. So when you're feeling dependent, remember when you had mastery. When you're feeling grandiose, remember when you were feeling small in a big world. But this is a recipe for balance, not feeling overwhelmed by any of these 4 stages, because each one of them modifies the other. So Moses warns the Jews in this week's Torah portion, watch out, you're going to get arrogant. Now, we will all go through stages of feeling arrogant. That's natural, to think, oh, things are going good, it's because I'm so great. But life will always slap you by the face, and you'll start struggling again. You'll start becoming dependent. You'll start feeling lonely. When you're feeling lonely, when you're struggling, work on mastery. Work on mastering something so that you can build back up. But when you get to grandiosity and you're feeling, oh, I'm so wonderful, realize that you're going to hit one of those 4 stages any moment now. You're going to hit back into dependency and feeling lonely and small in a big world. So life is a spiral staircase. Think about that. Egypt got its water from the Nile. Israel gets its water from the sky. Israel is hardwired for religion. Getting your water from the sky rather than depending on it from the Nile, it brings a whole different mentality. So the Egyptians worship the Nile because that's where they got their water. Jews worship God because they believe that he sent the rain from heaven. So the modern equivalent to worrying about whether it's going to rain or not is to worry about, say, the stock market.
Now, why do you say that?
Because it used to be that Israel would really worry about the rain. If there wasn't rain, there wouldn't be crops, and if there weren't crops, we'd starve. And so we were dependent on the rain.
Yep.
Now we're not as dependent on the rain because we can trade, and Israel is like a high-tech country, and it can trade as technological expertise in exchange for food. But we're also in many ways dependent on the stock market. If your retirement funds or your investments are in the stock market and it crashes and you lose everything.
There's actually a lot of truth to what you're saying, and I may have already know this, but the word for rain in Hebrew is geshem. The geshamim are the rains, right? And gashmias is
making a living from the worldly stuff.
It means worldly stuff. It means materialism, material stuff, right? Is gashmias, right? So, and the root to that word is geshem, which is rain. So rain brings down all of the brachas of this world, the finance and whatever. So there is where's today's geshem? Geshem is rain. Where is today's gashmias? Is in places like the stock market and places like that. That's where it's raining down the bracha of Parnasa.
That broad I was with in Vegas, she said, Levi, you're more Ruchnius than Gashmias. I can see that you really appreciate the things of Ruchnius rather than Gashmias. And then I said, can we do it again?
Without a condom.
I don't understand why the rabbis don't let me date their daughters.
The angels suck tonight. Just, ugh.
Okay, tapping into the wisdom of the Torah brings success whether you're a Jew or a Gentile. Not for every single individual, but generally speaking, you tap into the Torah and it'll be good for you. So look at LeBron James, who brought along this great rabbi
what was that about?
When he was doing some major business transaction. So
it was an endorsement or commercials or something?
Well, he wanted him in on the negotiations.
What was that about though? Why him? What was the craziest thing last summer on that
LeBron
boat?
James has always been tight with the Jews. When he was asked to name the most, he named the Talmud as the greatest book or something like that. Yeah. LeBron James is really tight with the Jews.
Where's he from originally? Ohio? Akron, Ohio, or someplace?
Yeah.
That is bizarre. Okay.
So Torah is a book of wisdom, and much of the wisdom is transmitted through its laws. Torah is sacred to Christians as well as to Jews, and if Muslims tapped into their Jewish roots and acknowledged their Jewish roots, they'd become successful too, like the Christians have.
Dude, can I drop some knowledge on you?
Mm-hmm.
Who says that Muslims aren't successful? I know some sheiks and some sultans and some.
The Muslim world is backward, and
they've